All right, and hello to Cyborg Larry. Thank you for joining us here as we are getting going in our first part of the story creation process in Vampire. Now, in particular, we are looking at 5th edition VTM. And while it does reference some specific things in this rulebook, I mean, you can use a lot of these techniques in whichever other games you would like. So if you're playing along at home and you do have your rulebook, we're going to crack it open to page 142. Let's see if I'll make this a little bit bigger here. As this relationship map is a way you can organize your group. Now, it is expressly discussed in this rulebook, though if you've been around for a while, you've seen that I even do something similar in D&D party composition and other such things. Because when you can lay everything out and you can see the connections, you can see the attachments. Oh, hi. Thank you for joining us. I don't know if you can see what has just, Hi. Alright, well, there you go, get your camera time in. It's not a stream without a cat. Or I guess in this case, some cat butt. Alright, ma'am, can you move along? Hi. Okay, thank you for joining us. Why are you staring at them? Is there a ghost? Do you see a ghost out there next to one of the viewers? Is that what this is? Uh-oh, which one of you is haunted out there? Which one of you is haunted? Who is it? Oh, off the keyboard, ma'am, please. Oh, alright, well. Okay, well. Can I put you someplace else? I gotta do this. I know. Well, thank you for telling them one of them's haunted. I know, you see ghosts. It happens. Oh, off the keyboard. Oh my gosh, cat. Please. No more. No moss, okay? So. Meow. A relationship map is when you and your fellow players take the qualities of your characters and lay them out. And you say, oh, hey, Slime. Yeah, and you say, hey, Slime, welcome to the vampire game. It's good to see you, Chosen. But, yeah, you put all the Legos out there and you see what you can build. And what's important about this, especially for a storyteller, who is the DM, GM, or ST, in this case, of the system, is that if you apply pressure to one part of this system, you can see how it would affect the other parts of the system, if at all. And let me take you to it here. So, with the relationship map, Vampire depicts dramatic action. Drama occurs between people, some of whom may be vampires. When two people interact, they create, reinforce, or change a relationship. By drawing a relationship map, you can bring drama visually to the forefront, keep track of supporting characters you've neglected, and provide both storyteller and player with emotional meat for those interpersonal scenes. You begin the game with your player characters, each of whom has a sire and touchstones. Then perhaps you add vampiric mentors, human lovers, or a shady journalist who always knows the latest supernatural rumors. You almost certainly add the prince of the city or the leading anarch baron or counselors. As you draw lines and describe connections between your characters and these new SPC figures, storyteller, player characters, NPCs, and other systems, the relationship map of your chronicle takes shape, and your game takes on life and possibility. As more supporting characters appear, and as relationships change, you scribble in new names and cross out old truths. Make note of that hidden haven or the really great hunting ground for that gangrel found. Update the map as allies become adversaries following a failed negotiation in Elysium, or as an unknown vampire embraces a dangerous recurring inquisitor. Soon enough, the map becomes a mess of scribbled notes about the characters, post-its with pictures, memorable quotes, wine stains, and sketches. Your relationship map becomes your mad conspiracy wall, or your pictures and string investigation board straight out of The Wire. Use it not just to drive drama, but to keep track of the tangled web of local kindred deception. Keep it near the table where everyone can read it. Its form is up to you. A big sheet of butcher paper, a digital mind map, a presentation deck, a printout of the map of your city with domain boundaries drawn in. You can use whatever colors you have in a drawer or on the computer. Build the relationship map illustration in this chapter. Use these. Use these. Black denotes player character names, locations, and notes. Red denotes fellow kindred and their havens and interests. Blue marks mortal and their activities and bases. Now, there's a lot here. Do you have to abide by those colors, or it's not an official VTM relationship map? No. Use whichever ones you want. Either because you like the color, you say, you know what, blue's not bad, but I'm more of a green person. Then use green. Or if you go, I would love to use red, but I have difficulty with the color. Then use whatever will make sense to you. Though the notes that are presented here explain the board that you saw above. This is not complex at all, Chosen. This is, I promise you, this is not complex. You can follow the instructions that are here, the suggestions. But this is not really something that is, I don't know, that requires some sort of sociology degree or a criminology degree or something along those lines. It's really a way to walk you through the considerations that you have for your table of vampire. Now, what you can see that I did here is I have I have things ready to go. And so it's here that I will need your all's help. Because while we didn't go through normally in the process, we have our introduction to the system, we'll make characters, and then we'll make a story based on those characters. As last week was a bit of a washout, quite literally, because of severe thunderstorms and flooding, we didn't get to make the characters. So tonight, we are going to do some quick gen characters. Nothing that is particularly in depth that we would get into if we took our time over the course of 2 nights to do. But don't worry, we are going to have a makeup session about that. And for Chosen and others, I need your help in this regard. As workshops, especially like this, are going to be more interactive than simply me lecturing. And so I'll tell you what, Chosen, if you zoned out and you need some focus, you need some understanding, or something along those lines, then we can start out with this. Chosen, I would like you to give me what's a profession? What's a profession someone has? You have been. That's what you get for zoning out. I pick on you. I hope that's not too challenging of a question. Just what is a profession someone has? Could be something that you are, or that you are you aspire to be, or just, I don't know, you read an article in the newspaper about a fire in your town, and you're like, oh wow, what do firefighters go through? And you say, oh, firefighting's a profession. A guardsman. Okay. What kind of guardsmen are we talking about? Is this some sort of private security? Public? Public. Okay. So by a public guardsman, are you talking about a police officer of some kind? Of some job or rank, a detective, a beat cop, someone who, like a Leon Kennedy, this was their first day on the job kind of a thing? Are you talking about a guardsman more in like the Warhammer 40K, where it is a public job where you are someone in the military? And for an exercise like this too, for anyone else I call on, this is what we're going to approach first. The stream lagged. All right. Um, what kind of public guardsman? Are we talking about a police officer of some kind, a detective, a fresh cop on the beat, the chief of police, or a county sheriff, or a deputy, or a Texas Ranger kind of a thing, or a detective, or are we talking guardsmen like the concept of Warhammer 40k, where you're actually in the military, which is a public guardsman in that case? A detective. Okay. Um, okay, Ren, I would like you to name a profession, please. And unemployed or student or self-employed or something is fine too. What is something someone does? Bags groceries? Uh, drives Uber? There's a lot of different things here. Okay, so we are... appliance repair. Cyborg Larry, I'd like you to name a profession of some kind, please. What is something that someone does? All right. Rosewolf. Rosewolf, I need a profession of some kind, please. We might not have Rosewolf. Who... Oh, here we go. A crime scene investigator. Oh, all right. So we have a detective and a crime scene investigator. Okay. I absolutely agree, Chosen. All right, so congratulations. We have 4 humans, which might not necessarily be a feat in and of itself. There's many of us, though. We're going to build a story around these humans, or rather, maybe what they will end up becoming in the world of darkness. And throughout the course of each of these people's lives, they are going to encounter a vampire who will become their sire. And through a process called the Embrace, will be turned into kindred, into vampires. And thus, a brand new life. Many opportunities and a lot of extra threats and other things now become a part of who and what they are. Now, we don't have a city. We don't have a city for this in particular. But we can... we don't need to worry about that just yet. Because I'm more worried about... who the characters are. Because we want to find a way that they are connected. If at all. There might be some things that is just... it's a schism, and these two characters will never agree on whatever the topic or issue is. And that's fine, because that is part of the dynamic, the relationship that they have. So, we're going to go to... bloop, bloop, bloop. Who else is hanging out here tonight that can help me roll some dice? Any of you out there, just let me know that you're lurking, that you want to participate, and I'll be glad to call on you. Otherwise, for those of you who have already participated, I'll be happy to call on you again. All right, Dragon and GMV. Okay, Dragon, I would like you to type exclamation point 1d10 in chat. Lands on an 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, excellent. GMV. I would like you to type exclamation point 1d10 in chat for me. Very interesting. Another 8. All right. Do we have anyone else out there that hasn't participated yet? I'd love to call on you and get some first timers to help out with this. You've seen it's as complex as typing a simple command into chat. Hunter, hello. Yes, please type exclamation point 1d10. Let's find out how this pipe fitter is being embraced into which clan. An 8. Interesting. All right, then. And finally, we have our crime scene investigator. Chromatic Coffee. Are we gonna have 4 in a row? I'd like your help, Chromatic. Please type exclamation point 1d10 in chat. Oh, a 2. Okay. 1, 2. A gangrel. Okay, now, we briefly met our humans in their life at whatever point that they could be, you know, young, uh, they could be old, whatever, male, female. Not worried about that right now. A lot of this would come up, of course, as you think about the human your vampire was, because there's a lot of things that are going to come along with you in that move to being among the undead. All right, Chosen. I'm sorry if this isn't your thing, but I appreciate you hanging out as long as you did. And hopefully you can come back and see the connectivity of things and how it plays out, because I promise you, it's not very complex. And hello, Iron Chef. So here we have the basis of our characters here. And this itself might point to a very compelling story. Why is there such an abundance of vampires who are clanless, who don't have that that special refined blood? Not all kindred inherit the curse of one of the 13. Some don't care what their lineage is. Certain bloodlines of kindred have always been clanless, and sometimes childer of the clans are just born different. They're often discarded, exiled, or choose to distance themselves from the clans that despise them. Pure vampires, the caitiff make up for what they lose in respect and pedigree by flexible blood and the absence of a crippling bane. Proud or ashamed of their clanless nature as they may be, these creatures have no family and represents vampirism at its purest and most individualistic. These nights, the clanless are increasingly becoming a force to be reckoned with. Though more disparate, individualistic, and chaotic than their cousins, they are all survivors, and they have begun to gather, build alliances, and make childer of their own. The caitiff, who seek out mortals to perform the embrace, generally target the strong-willed and those used to uncommon hardship. A caitiff's position in the hierarchy of kindred is at the bottom, just above the thin-blooded, who should not have been born at all, and they are forced to fight for their place or fall and be forgotten. The caitiff see little point in embracing mortals unlikely to make it through the night on their own. While the caitiff have begun to purposefully increase their numbers, most are still created when a fledgling embraced into one of the clans does not form an attachment with their ancestral blood and does not exhibit the telltale signs of their clan's curse. When other kindred talk of the caitiff, they tell tales of Nosferatu abandoned for weeks on end without ever developing any hideousness. Painfully sane Malkavians and young Ventru able to feed from whomever they want. Unwilling to accept such a child as one of their own, the clan abandon them. Or the child senses in their blood that they do not belong, despite their sire's protests. The creation of a caitiff is not an exact science, and many abandoned childer still manifest some of the characteristics of their parent clan, despite the absence of their bane. Now, what this can point to, for some interesting story elements, are we seeing that for some reason in this area, many of this next generation of vampires are being born detached from their bloodlines, from their clans? Is this some kind of a mutation? Is this a purposeful occurrence? Is this mere coincidence? Because, well, it's difficult to get a lot of expert data on vampires, 'Cause even vampires haven't figured out everything about themselves at this point. And could this just be? It is a 1 in a million, but I mean, considering we have a planet of 8 billion, is this just a 1 in a million chance that we have this kind of cluster of caitiff that have come about? And so, the perhaps born from some other clan, we can almost roll again for their sires to find out what is going on. And this is going to be a connection. Now, the sire is not always known. As sometimes a childer is abandoned, or maybe the sire was killed somewhere early in the process, and so that there's not exactly an attachment or an intimate knowledge here. But we are a product of another vampire. We didn't just wake up one night like this. Though that could be an interesting way to run vampire as well, and could be worth exploring. So let's go about this. I think we actually have a basis for a very interesting tale. Artemis, I would like you to roll 1d10 in chat, and I would like to know the clan of the sire of our detective. An 11. Well then, so you rolled an 11 on a 10. There are the 9 clans here. 10 was your choice. And 11 would be that we actually have a caitiff making a caitiff. Or no, I'm sorry. Because caitiff is part of that. Sire is unknown. I was just talking about unknown being an option. Sorry. Because the caitiff would have been an 8 on that roll. 10 would have been your choice. 11 on a d10 would have been an unknown sire. Alright, now let's go down let's go over to our appliance repair. Cyborg Larry's still away. Who would like to roll in our workshop here? Is there someone that hasn't yet already? Or if not, is there someone who already has and would like a second roll of the D10? Oh, we have Kragar and Afterfov and Iron Chef. Okay. Kragar, can you give me a 1d10 roll in chat, please? A 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A thin-blooded. You know what? I'm going to roll with it. I am going to roll with this. The sire was actually thin-blooded and added a potency. Although I think... Are these technically... I got to double check something. Anything can be anything, by the way. But, can they embrace? Or perform the embrace with any certainty. Okay. So this is a man. What is going on in this city? Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Next up, after Fav. May I please have a 1d10 roll in chat? Ten is your choice. So after Fav, you get to choose the clan of the sire of this other caitiff. Even whether or not you have any familiarity, maybe you just choose one that sounds cool. Oh, did I? There we go. Do you choose Bruja, Gangrel, Malkavians, Nosferatu, Toreador, Tremere, Ventru, Caitiff, or Thinblood? Or I guess you could choose Sire Unknown as well. Tremere, all right. The Tremere are magic-using vampires. There you go. They use blood magic. Now, the Gangrel would have a Gangrel as a sire, as Chromatic Coffee was But we know that they have that they do have connections to their sires. So what? Actually, why don't we do this? Because I was gonna have Iron Chef Lord. I would like you to roll a. Let's see how well, like how close these two are. So I'll tell you what, Iron Chef. This is just me making up a particular scale here. We'll do a 1 to 10 scale. So Craig, or not Craigar, Iron Chef Lord. Iron Chef, may I please have an exclamation point 1d10? Seven, okay. So we do have a Gangrel sire that is pretty close with his or her child, childer. Well, child, C-H-I-L-D-E. Childer being the plural. Okay. Now let's start making some stuff up here about our characters. This is not the official process by which we create characters in Vampire, though there are some kind of quick create reference sheets here that go over things to think about. Um, I'm not worried too much about this. Although, ooh, you know what? We actually can roll for their feeding types. Ah, here we go. All right. We have 10. Right. Well, let's get Hero Dragon. Hero Dragon, can you give me an exclamation point 1d10 roll? One, two, three. A blood leech. All right. Next up, is there anyone that oh, Bane. Bane, may I please have a 1d10 roll from you as well in chat? Well then, not Bane. May I please have a 1d10 roll in chat? An 11. Your choice. What sounds cool to you? Alley Cat, Bagger, Bloodleech, Cleaver, Consensualist, Farmer, Osiris, Sandman, Scene Queen, or Siren? I presume that's Sandman? Okay. You usually say that when you go to bed, so I thought actually you're just dipping. All right, be well, Bane. All right, Artemis. Go ahead and give me a 1d10 roll for redeeming those points. Eight on a d10? When does that happen tonight? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Another Sandman. And then lastly, Chromatic Coffee, we'll come back around to you. May I please have an exclamation point 1d10 roll? a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A farmer. All right. So we have an idea of our sires, how it is we go about feeding, and now we can come up with some other aspects of the characters, about who they were in life, any sort of did they have any significant others or children, co-workers, did they own a business? And now that we have those aspects that we can mix in, along with things like touchstones, which are a way for you to be anchored to the mortal world. Because if we see here, we have all kinds of things that are brought up. In this case, we have for Wanda. Wanda's sire is named Crystal and is a loving sire. The sire of Eric is Secundus and is a friendly sire. Marcus is a remanding sire to Thomas, and we have Belinda is an absent sire to Miranda. Now we see that in the connectivity between Miranda and Thomas, Miranda fears Thomas. Thomas considers Miranda a dangerous woman. And that's what you can start doing. That's what you can start doing here as well. Now we don't know the details about the characters, but we can simply ask for opinions, because you all have people in your lives that you admire, respect, fear, don't want to have anything to do with, loathe, despise, whatever else that exists. Hey, Quingar, good to see you. Now, Quengar, without naming any names, think of someone in your life. Doesn't matter who, and you don't have to say who it is. But this is a person who is, in the realm of your life. Friend, family, coworker, someone who goes to the same civic club or church or bowling league or whatever. Okay? So this isn't someone that you can necessarily easily avoid. This is someone in your life. You don't need to name names or the relationship. What is your feeling towards this person? Contempt. Okay, then. So in this case, this character feels contempt for the gangrel, but in return, Kragar, think of someone in your life that, for similar reasons, friend, family, co-worker, someone you play darts with, is in a civic club, a church, or whatever. You don't have to name names or tell us what the relationship is, but I want a feeling you feel towards this person. Okay. So this character feels disconnected from the other character. So you're there, but it's just it's like you always just happen to be in the same place, but there's not really, you're just kind of there. So, while they may end up having to work together as a coterie, these two between each other have some kind of other, have these feelings about each other. How they manifest, that's going to be up to the players to decide. And we can go through and we'll do one more practice here between. We'll make it kind of compelling. Bane went into lurk mode. Who else is hanging out? Even if you've already rolled or participated again, who's here and can give me a feeling you have towards someone in your life that is a part of your life? Whether you like it, you love it, you hate it, you wish it was different. But this is someone you can't easily just ignore. Keys. All right, Keys. I would like you to give me a... It doesn't matter who. You don't need to identify this person. How do you feel towards someone who's in your life? And I do want to say this is a not standard way of going about things. We're doing some quick gen stuff, but I want to show the connectivity among people here. All right. Then let's get Iron Chef. I don't think you've had a second round of something yet. Iron Chef, think of someone in your life, and how would you describe in one word your feeling towards this person that is in your life? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it indifferent? Is it, in a kind of, I'll have a beer with this person, but like I won't invite him over for movie night. Like what is this? Rejected. Okay. Excellent. Now you can get an idea if we go through each of these characters and we have the diagonals and everything else. I mean, hopefully there's some sort of a positive connection here. But we see Fear thinks of this person as a dangerous woman. Eric regards Miranda as what I can never be. Miranda regards Eric as admiration. So Miranda admires Eric. Eric kind of longs to be something that Miranda is. Miranda over here views Wanda as BFFs against us against the apocalypse. Or is indicated as a BFF. So Wanda and Miranda are BFFs, and Wanda sees Miranda as seeking answers, but not a fool. Okay. Thomas recognizes that Eric knows his place. Eric regards Thomas as an artless thug. And yet these vampires, despite having these opinions about others, are going to have to function in some way. But that's also a reflection of us in our lives and a lot of the answers that you out there have given. We have people in our lives that we don't like. We would greatly prefer not to be around, but here we are. They could be a boss, a coworker, a teacher, that one kid on the school project who brings everyone else's grades down. And yet you got to work together and you got to find a way to have something happen. So we see off of these, there are some mortal connections. There's some other vampiric ones, the Sire. Or in this case, Eric has a vampiric rival with someone, with Bianca. Whoops. Oh no. Oh, I messed everything up. It's over. Now, who's Bianca here? Right now, we don't know. But somewhere out there is a rival vampire, probably another Nosferatu, named Bianca. And these are things that your players would bring with their character in the formation, right? Because usually you get an enemy, or you have some sort of a secret that you're hiding. As part of the character creation process, these things come up. Or you might go, you know what? I think it would be fun if I don't know, you wanted to play an abuela. You know, she lived her life very piously, in a very good fashion, and in a sense of bitter irony was embraced. And despite being a God-fearing woman, Abuela is embraced to be a bruja. And her passions, maybe that she worked all of her life to hold back, are now more apt to burst forth in very colorful ways. And she might actually then she sees it as a reward. All of my life I fought against monsters and the works of the devil. Now with this gift given to me, I actually can. And she's sent out to hunt other vampires. Might form a rivalry, or that might be some sort of a secret, or even later in the story, she has to hunt her own grandchild, who is dabbling in the occult. You know, in life, she said, no, don't do that. Stay away. It'll get you killed. And the child says, "No, abuela, I'm it's harmless fun. I'm just playing Magic the Gathering. It literally doesn't summon demons." Well, lo and behold, the grandson may not be summoning demons by playing D&D or Magic the Gathering or Pokemon or something, but that interest has led to the point where the grandson has learned about the Masquerade, about the world of darkness. And Abuela has a duty to protect the Masquerade. Or does she? And that's where the decisions come in on the player's part. But that's a dramatic moment. Could she, would she have the gumption? She doesn't get to erase people's memories like other vampires. She's just learned her grandson has uncovered vampirism. Is she going to be the one to take him out mercifully and quickly because she can? Or is she going to try and struggle against this great weight of the Masquerade? Try and protect her grandson for as long as possible? Vamp him as a possibility, though depending on the rules of the city, Kragar, her embracing her grandson in this case without authorization could actually get both of them sent to final death. For as much as that could be a middle ground, that carries its own risks as well and is a moral decision. Or do I walk in and he greets me and I go in and I give him a hug like I always do, and suddenly, with one quick snap, he didn't feel anything because he couldn't. She severed his spinal cord. He was dead before he knew it and felt nothing in the process. But quite possibly saved her grandson from a lifetime of damnation or vampirism that she has taken upon herself, and protected him from worse tragedies that would befall coming into this forbidden knowledge. And that could be tough. That could be compelling story stuff. And we can see it play out before our eyes if we knew that, so here, let's write this out. Let's say that our abuela was actually our... so we actually have this grandson. Why am I doing it like this? I have a text tool. So she has a grandson, and we also know that she is, even still in her vampiric state, a woman of great faith. And if she repaired appliances in her life, she works for someone. Maybe it's a family business. She might have even run it and then was kind of doing some stuff part-time. Got called out to a blighted property to haul away some appliances because maybe they're called in like free removal, but then they kind of just cash in by recycling it or scrapping it. And, easy enough. She goes in. She's done this 1,000 times before in her long life. So we'll say that she did this as part of a family business. But that night in that blighted house, well, things happened. Now, in the book, you see that they did, rearrange the coloration. So we have red and blue as kind of opposing colors to differentiate between the kine, Kine, cattle, the humans, and the kindred, vampires, in red here. But you can go through and not only fill out these aspects of your characters individually, and then you can still go through and say, if we make a connection here, and then we simply write that she loves and it's probably we'll make this a two-way arrow. He might even be a touchstone, which, by the way, if something happens to your touchstone in Vampire, gets a little dicey, because a part of you that was holding on to your humanity is no longer doing so. And this could even go into, so how did she become a Sandman-style feeder? How does she, break into places and feed off of sleeping people? She's a grandmother. How many kids and grandkids has she helped put to bed and given them a goodnight kiss? Before, how many times has the Tooth Fairy visited? Has Santa Claus snuck into the living room to fill stockings? This woman has had a lifetime of this kind of behavior, and it just manifested in her feeding style. There you go. And then we, we come over here. We come over here to the pipe fitter. And the pipe fitter might be in the plumbers and pipe fitters union. All right. And we come over, and maybe this person had was kind of grumpy. For whatever reason, I don't know what. Maybe started out as very this is exactly what we needed. And then maybe as he got older, just the leadership was really failing. Didn't fall out of love with the Union, but definitely saw it get corrupted or somehow, I don't know. It always needed better. It could have always been stronger, something along those lines. So, kind of grumpy. But what we can also do isn't just connect this purple box to the purple bubble. Plumbers and pipe fitters might very well encounter appliance repair people for dishwashers and washing machines and or they're installing the plumbing and the people bringing the appliances. You might run into each other, or you at least see each other around, and that each other kind of do something similar. One is before, one is after. And so in this case, this character, that might be a part of the relationship. Maybe these two in life actually got along. Or, what if when Abuela wasn't necessarily, in her sunset years? What if a more of like a middle-aged, a little bit more of a cougar style, saw this young journeyman pipe fitter and told this young man that due to your profession, She needs her pipes cleaned. And he came over to the house and performed his duties mightily. And now they meet again in death. So that could be an interpersonal relationship, or if you go, maybe not that, but we can go. This should have been smaller, but just follow me. Follow the. You know what? Instead of just that, I'll make it follow the spray paint. The businesses here might actually do business with each other. They might refer each other, or it could just be one big racket. I don't know. How far down a rabbit hole would you like to go? How wholesome or mufu, similar to what Craigar gave in chat, or, everything was professional and above board. But here we see that even if these two don't necessarily share a personal connection or knowledge, the pipe fitter character, through his union, might actually know or have done business, or might be able to call upon the resources of the small family business of the appliance repair abuela. Ah, okay. And if you want to go something like for the sire of the thin blood, you could make another dot going back of the thin blood sire was I don't know. And what if you actually have something where you know what? I don't know. Let's roll it real quick. Craigar, you gave me a mufu. I would like you to roll a 1d10 in chat for me. Exclamation point 1d10. Who created the thin blood that actually then is almost having a rebounding effect and now making a more powerful caitiff? Lands on an 8. A caitiff created a thin blood that created a caitiff. There is something going on in this city. What is going on here, everyone? Is there a blood curse? Are we circling the drain? Cyborg Larry, I have an extremely morbid curiosity. I would like you to roll exclamation point 1d10 for me, please. A 5. Okay. One, two, three, 4, 5. Toreador. Okay. Now, by the way, knowing this far back may not really be a reality or possibility. So this would be for our purposes. But this might indicate that something's going on here. And so we go through, we connect this, and we can step back, look at this conspiracy board, the madness. And in fact, we, not only as storytellers, the players can join in too and say, oh, you know what? I didn't think of that. But maybe I made my crime scene investigator separate from you making your detective. What if we both worked at the same department? And in fact, one might be older than the other. So maybe the gangrel is chronologically as a human older, was embraced for being able to sniff around for clues, embraced by the gangrel, right? Then this detective comes along after the old crime scene investigator disappeared. Maybe the serial killer he was after, or she was after, is was thought to be abducted by the very prey that was being tracked down. And then there's a new detective, 20 years later. There's a new detective on the scene on the same case who also disappears. Now, we don't know who this person's sire is. Even the caitiff doesn't know. Whereas before it was the gangrel, it could be the same gangrel, except this is a caitiff that was made, or this could be a copycat killer, or an embracer sort of a thing. And now we're building not just lore with our vampire characters. This city has a problem of a serial killer on the loose, of copycat crimes, of detectives brought onto a cursed case, which could actually be cursed. I don't know, maybe there's a ghost or something. But do you see, even though we didn't have fully fleshed out character sheets, just by starting to put something on the board, look at how all of this, through random prompts, here we are. And you can do this with D&D. You can do this with Cyberpunk. You can do this with My Little Pony RPG. Because you're simply listing out the qualities and looking for the connections. If I want to run an enemy that is going to manipulate at least two of the members of the Coterie, all I need my enemy, my rival, or something to do is get in between, in this section, and this gets infected. Because now Abuela is suffering by virtue of the family business being disrupted. And the pipe fitter, who might actually feel like, this is an opportunity for them, yeah, things are on the slump and there's allegations of this or that within the union. This might actually mean that they're going to reorganize and get better, pull their heads out their asses, or some other grumble, right? But that doesn't mean that maybe there's still not someone in that union, a hopeful, someone that he ended up coming to admire or hoping, even in undeath after having died in an unfortunate steam accident. You go down into the steam tunnels or whatever, and he didn't come back. Interesting that. Might be that copycat killer. Yeah, chromatic. If you're feeling inspired, absolutely. That's what the whole point of a board like this is supposed to do. And I hope that, yes, this is written into the vampire book. Must you do this? No. But especially in a very interpersonal game like Vampire the Masquerade, you can see how you can manipulate things or improve things, add to things, because you have this interconnectedness.